Hi everyone, my name is Emily. I am going to be doing more vlogs and journeys of riding horses because I thought, you know what, I've been doing this basically my entire life. And I would have my mom video every single lesson, every single show until I was about 18, and she couldn't quite be there all the time for every single thing. But I never would post it. I have a couple videos up from way back when, like when I did EAP, and I think there was something else. I don't know what it is. It's really old, terrible quality. But why not do some more vlogs on this journey of working with these two draft horses that I'm working with? And because they're really great horses. I wish I would have thought of this earlier in the year because it would have been great to watch the youngest one's progress on how she's become a lot more rideable. But you know, it is what it is. So now we'll just start here. I've been riding for 24 years. So if you do the math, I'm in my late 20s. I forget about that all the time. I've done hunters, jumpers, equitation, dressage. I've done collegiate dressage and collegiate equitation. I've done IHSA. I did EAP, one session of it briefly. I've done horsemanship quiz challenge. I have a couple medals from that. I did really well. And then I've also done 100 pace, and I've gone cross country schooling. When I was 10 and saw the Olympics and 3-day eventing for the first time, I said, I'm gonna be a 3-day eventer. That's what I'm gonna do. That's me. Finally, at 20 years old, I went cross-country schooling, and I was humbled real quick. I didn't fall, but that's not me. That's not what I wanna do. I love the hunter-jumper world, but then I also love the draft horses that I get to ride. They're owned by my cousin, and we've had one in the family for at least 15 years now. We can't really keep track of how old he is. He's 23, 24, somewhere around there, not really sure. And then she got a 2-year-old 2 years ago, and she got broke to ride last summer. So it's been a fun journey and experience riding a green Clydesdale. And I've ridden green horses before, a lot of green thoroughbreds, a lot of off-the-track thoroughbreds. That's been primarily what I've ridden over the 24 years, with fancy warm bloods and various other kinds of things intermixed in there. But that's my experience with green horses, and riding a green draft horse, it's completely different. Goes a lot more like a warm blood than you would expect, especially for a green horse. But yeah, I'll get into them in a second. So that's my riding experience right now. I'm just riding the two drafts and showing them at local county fairs. So it's very light. It's very unserious. I take it seriously because I take my riding seriously every single time I get on. But they're pretty much for fun. So it's great experience for them, and it's great work for both of them as well to really develop their muscles and keep fit. Especially as draft horses age, it can be hard to keep muscle tone and weight on them. So it's great to keep them in work, so that way it's preventative from potential health issues. So a little introduction about the two horses that I ride. One is named Reno. He's a 23-year-old Belgian draft. He has second level dressage training on him before my cousin got him, and he was about 8-9 years old at that point. So he'd had a number of years on him with riding, but he has struggled. We've struggled to keep weight on him and struggled to keep him fit and sound and healthy. So it's been a number of years of trial and error and figuring out what works for him and what kind of program and feed regimen helps keep him in the best shape. And he feels incredible this year. Whatever we're doing, it's finally working, and I'm really, really happy with where he's at. He's a really fun horse to ride. He knows all the buttons. He knows when you push it what to do. You just have to know which buttons to push with him. and he's always been like that. He'll test the kids, which is kind of funny, but he knows what to do if you know what you're doing, and he knows when you know what you're doing. But he's just a really awesome horse. Gets really excited to show, gets really amped. He will go so quiet and almost lazy at home, and then you put him in a show and he is pumped. He's ready. He knows how to canter, and he knows how to canter very well. So the first time I ever showed him, it was about 5 years ago now, I think. He bucked into the ring and started just cantering in a walk trot class, right? Thankfully we weren't judged yet, but yeah, that was exuberant and a little bit wild. So yeah, he's a blast. And then the other one I'm riding is Cherie, and she is a 4-year-old Clydesdale mare. She was broke to ride late last spring, so she's had about 8 months of rides on her. So she's still very green. She's still learning the ropes. She's grown a lot from last year as well, so she's still constantly trying to figure out her balance and how to hold herself together and where her feet go. She's very big. She's 17.2, whereas Reno's only 16.2. So there's just a lot more to her. There's a lot of horse to keep together, and I'm just working on training her to understand how to do that and how to hold and carry herself, because she is so big. There's no way we humans can hold up this horse. She has the most weight in my hands I have ever felt in any horse, and I've ridden some very heavy horses in the bridle that were really down on the forehand, and she isn't, but she just holds so much weight and contact in her mouth that my hands hurt after riding her. I joke that it feels like 100 pounds in my hands. I don't know how to measure that, but it's quite a lot of pressure. She loves a lot of contact, but it wasn't always like that. So it's been an interesting summer with her. She's come a long way, and I wish I would have been documenting this more to see her progress. But when she basically came off of the winter break, you know, we live in Ohio and don't have an indoor for these horses, so they don't get ridden in the snow or the ice or the cold weather or anything. It's not safe for them with their dinner plate hooves. And so she came off her winter break with throwing her head in the air, chewing obnoxiously on the bit. I mean, she was like grinding on the bit, so much so that she wasn't focusing on the ride and just focusing on trying to chew through the bit or avoid contact as she threw her head up and down. She didn't want to go straight. So there was a lot of things to work with her to get her to where we wanted her to be and settled into riding and going nicely straight and forward, not up and down with her head. So we did end up putting her in a flash noseband to help the mouth thing. When they just open and close their mouths so much, it's really hard to maintain consistent contact with the reins and teach them how to develop the correct muscles and go the proper way into the bridle. So while the head up and down thing I could live with and work through, we needed her mouth on the bit. Eventually I would love to take the flash off and have her go without it. I think once she learns a little bit more and learns how to balance and learns how to kind of settle in to being ridden, I think we won't need to use it, but for the time being, it just helps to develop that correct contact. Now the head bobbing has stopped. My cousin really wanted to put her in a standing martingale, and I don't like to use anything if it's not absolutely necessary. I don't like extra tack on them. I don't like any extra aids if they're not absolutely needed or helpful. And I knew that with a standing martingale, she was just going to develop muscles the wrong way. She was going to have a thick underside neck pulling against that martingale and not learn how to go correctly and nicely. She was just going to fight it the whole time. Like, I could just tell that it was going to be that way with this horse. And part of it was that she's just green. She was green. She didn't have quite the top line developed to carry a rider comfortably yet. So she was just trying to adjust her body and figure out how to do it. and she's figured it out. She goes very nicely now. She holds a frame for the most part. I mean, she still comes out of it sometimes. I'm not forcing her into it. But she can go forward and nicely into a frame. So that's really great, and really, I mean, really awesome for a 4-year-old draft horse. That's not easy for them to hold and be compact like that. And a lot of their bodies oftentimes are built very uphill for carriage and not a nice round circle for riding. So really working to develop those muscles so that way it's comfortable for her, she feels strong, and she's definitely come quite a long way. So I'm really happy with how that mare is doing. And yeah, so that's the 2 I'm riding right now. I adore them. I'll do a little slideshow at the end of some pictures of them at the most recent fair, and they were both good. They were both good, yeah. Reno will forever be my baby, but we don't know how many more years we have of him, since he is quite old for a draft horse, in fantastic shape. But we don't know how much longer. So, and Cherie's coming along. I think in a couple years she will be really great. I think she's gonna go like a really nice dressage horse, very similar to Reno. But it's just it's gonna take time under saddle, and that's how I like to ride personally. I like to ride very correct dressage basis, not like a forced dressage. I've never gone really up the levels. I've only done kind of basics, but I've learned that solid foundation of how to get horses to go correctly into a frame and have them carry themselves and learn that. And so I really encourage that with all the horses I ride. And so it's cool to be able to work with one that's so new, so fresh, really hasn't had too many other people ride her except the person who broke her and then my cousin who rides her occasionally. I wasn't gonna break a draft horse. Yeah, no thank you. They're really big. I don't want to get bucked off from that height. So we sent her to a trainer for that. But the rest I can put on. It's just getting that initial saddle on. No, thanks. I'm good. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's been fun to work with her, and you'll see both of them in the next few vlogs for horse shows and schooling rides and all that good stuff. So thanks for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next one.